I appreciate it. My understanding is that the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute, that you're actually a board member of the Congressional Hispanic Institute. Is that correct?
Yes.
My understanding is that actually 13 of the 28 sponsors of this bill are on the board of this. Is that correct?
Yes, and would you like to join? We'd love to have you join and be part of a sponsor as well, because we also have, from your side, a member of our board that's on that board as well.
Roth Leatham. My understanding is that the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute is actually an independent 501c3.
That's correct.
My question, my concern about this, I have one about recognizing sports folks, and that's a separate issue. He has certainly accomplished so much on the golf course and off of the golf course. I admire the work that you have done in this Congress.
Thank you.
But it does seem to be a huge conflict of interest to sponsor a bill recognizing Chichi Rodriguez, who then in turn, for his accomplishments for youth programs of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute. Isn't that a conflict of interest?
No, it's not. It's really thinking about someone who has contributed, someone who has done an awful lot, and it's a bipartisan individuals, both Republican and Democrats, that belong to the CHCI board as well. And we welcome the new members that have just got elected to become part of that board that will say, you know what, we've got to honor individuals. It's not about a conflict of interest. It's not about anything else. It's about doing something that's positive for individuals. When someone is going to receive something in return, then it becomes a conflict of interest for us. We're not receiving anything in return. All we're doing is honoring an individual. With that, I reclaim my time. And I yield back the balance of my time.
Does the gentlelady reserve the balance of her time?
He yielded back his time, and I reserve my time.
Reserve the balance of my time. Back the balance of his time. The gentlelady from California reserves the balance of her time. The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 5 minutes to the gentleman, Mr. Chaffetz from Utah.
Thank you.
Mr. Gentleman from Utah is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, if the gentleman from California would engage with me here, I do have a few more questions, and I appreciate the dialogue and the passion you have for this. One of my concerns is that it actually, I think, detracts from the idea of the accomplishments of Chichi Rodriguez and also the good work that I'm sure that the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute has done. But to say that there's nothing in receipt, that it's all about giving and no receiving, it seems to me, on the appearance of it, that there's a huge conflict of interest for members of Congress who serve independently on a 501c3. They serve independently with this organization, with a fiduciary responsibility to that organization, to use the office of being a member in Congress to advance legislation that is surely going to benefit the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute. I'd be happy to yield some of my time to address this.
Thank you. Again, this is about children.
No,
are you against
reclaiming my
children?
time? Reclaiming my time.
It does not
reclaiming my time.
Gentleman has reclaimed his time. Gentleman from Utah is recognized.
I want further record. I have absolutely no doubt that the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute does good. You mentioned some scholarships. I've looked at the website. There's no doubt. There's no question in my mind. My question is, why this particular foundation? One that you serve on the board of directors. This country has thousands of foundations that do good work. But if the threshold here, and my understanding is that the Institute raises in the neighborhood of $6 to $7 million.
If you may yield on that subject.
Go ahead, sure.
We'd love to honor other foundations and other individuals as well. This is only one of many that we should recognize. Just as I'm honoring Arnold Palmer, that we gave the Congressional Gold Medal, and at one time, I hope you're here to celebrate when we have the actual gold medal that we'll present under your leadership that we'll be able to do here on the floor later on next year, because it won't happen now.
Thank you. Reclaiming my time. I feel like, Mr. Speaker, that this is a colossal waste of time to recognize sports heroes. That's a separate subject. That is a separate subject. Last week I voted against Joe Paterno, for goodness sake, one of the great great football coaches in this country. Chichi Rodriguez has accomplished amazing feats. There's no doubt in my mind about this. But I feel like the floor of the House of Representatives is being used for members' own personal benefits to actually move forward their own foundation. And that's the concern. There are thousands, as you just agreed to, thousands of foundations who do great work, who inspire kids and youth and I mean, that's part of what makes this country such a great country. But the only reason this bill is moving forward today, the reason it's coming to the floor of the House, is that we have 13 members of Congress who serve on the board of directors of this, which seems like a conflict of interest. I'd be happy to yield my time. If you want to address that, I'd be happy to yield more time to you to address that.
Well, once again, I'd like to state for the record that this is not a conflict of interest. This is about bipartisan individuals who sit on the board, who continue to want to provide assistance to many individuals who are in need of help, whether it's this organization or whether it's any other organization. I think it's important that we do recognize individuals that are willing to give of their time and their effort to make life better for someone else. And this is a humanitarian individual that is giving so much of his time.
Reclaiming my time. We'll still have both. Mr. Speaker, I do appreciate the gentleman addressing the questions. I really do. One of the concerns that is there is if you look at the opportunity, if you will, to attract corporate money to this. I went to the website today. These companies donate in excess of $200,000 to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute. AstraZeneca, ExxonMobil, Toyota, Walmart. These are companies that donate over $100,000, according to the website. AFL-CIO and affiliate unions, Altria Group, American Petroleum Institute, Anheuser-Busch, AT&T, Change to Win and affiliate unions, Comcast Corporation, Dell, Lilly, Lockheed Martin, Motorola, PepsiCo, Southwest, State Farm Insurance, Telemundo, Time Warner Cable, the Coca-Cola Company, United Healthcare Foundation, Univision, UPS. The purpose of this bill, according to the resolution, the very last line here, is to direct the clerk of the House of Representatives to make available an enrolled copy of this resolution to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute, of which 13 members of this body sit on the board of directors, and to the Chichi Rodriguez Youth Foundation. My own personal reading of this, Mr. Speaker, you yield me some more time.
Expired.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 3 minutes to the gentleman from Utah.
The gentleman is recognized for an additional 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To finish the conclusion of that thought, the reason, at least from my vantage point, and I'd be happy to have, I would hope that you would address this. The reason that this resolution is moving forward is that there is a benefit to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute, that they can use this as a tool to go out and solicit more money, more support, and grow their own personal foundation. It's not something that's afforded to other foundations, and that the only reason this is moving forward is because we have 13 members in this body that are co-sponsors of this legislation that sit on the board of directors, and that is a deep concern. Reserve the balance of my time. I think you have to reserve.
The gentleman from Tennessee reserves the balance of his time. The gentlewoman from California is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Baca, for 1 minute.
Just to California, Mr. Baca is recognized for 1 minute.
I know we're on the subject of recognizing the sports individual, and I'd like just to, for the record, that my colleague that just spoke actually supported a resolution to support a sports individual as well, and that was H.R. 942 for the record. So if we're going to be consistent, let's be consistent on both angles. No, I don't. I've only got about a minute left, and you've used your time.
Right.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to once again state that many corporations and many individuals give because they're good corporate citizens, because they want to make our communities a lot better. They want to provide an opportunity for individuals to enhance their education, further their education, be productive citizens. And sometimes many individuals cannot afford to go on to a college or university. It's that assistance that we give to individuals that will allow an individual to further their education, thus for becoming productive individuals. This is an individual that has helped in that endeavor to make sure that we raise the additional money, whether it's for this institution or whether it's for other institutions. I belong in a variety of different institutions to raise money on a bipartisan to make sure that we allow many individuals to be productive individuals within our communities. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from California reserves the balance of her time.
To know how much time we have on both sides, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman from California has 7.5 minutes, and the gentleman from Tennessee has 12 minutes.
And does the gentleman from Tennessee have further speakers?
I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from Utah.
Gentleman from Utah is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The gentleman from California pointed out, it is true. Previously, I had sponsored, voted for resolutions regarding sports folks. I finally realized this is a colossal waste of time. I took a pledge that I was no longer going to do it. I did it in the past. It was wrong. We got people unemployed. We got people who can't meet their mortgages. I've come to found that I think they're absolutely a colossal waste of time. Even though, there are a lot of good people, but we're not recognizing and taking care of the people's business. That's my own personal belief. But to clarify the question that you had, yes, I did do that in the past. I wish I hadn't, but I'm a freshman. I learned, made a mistake.
Well, I appreciate you doing it in the past, and I look forward to your continued support.